The morning after the hospital blackout, Elmridge changed. Reports flooded in, power surges, pets vanishing, phones ringing at 3:13 a.m. with no caller ID. Witnesses claimed they saw her, Clara, in alleyways, on rooftops, standing motionless in the middle of the road. But when approached, she'd disappear. The FBI arrived at sunrise, but sublevel 3 was gone, collapsed. No ladder, no bones, no book, nothing but concrete, as if it had never existed. But one thing remained, carved into the floor where the altar once stood, 12 symbols, all connected, all circling a 13th. The same symbol that had appeared in nightmares, journals, and the bark of the watching tree. A triangle, an eye, and now a mouth, open, screaming. The symbol had changed. Clara had changed. They called in an occult specialist. She reviewed the journals recovered from the church and compared them to the 13th voice grimoire, now in evidence lockup. She found a pattern. Every 13 years, a girl would go missing. Not just in Elmridge, but in other towns with the same sigil etched in stone would flesh. The Hollow Lineage didn't die. It moved. And every time it did, it left one survivor. A voice. But Clara? She was the first returned voice. The one who came back. And something had come back with her. That night, another video surfaced. Dark web. Untraceable. Footage taken from a hidden body cam, belonging to Agent Marcus Hale, one of the agents who vanished during the descent into sublevel 3. He was still alive, but chained, naked, mouth sewn shut. The footage was shaky, glitching, but what it showed chilled even veteran agents. The altar room was intact. The candles were lit, and standing above him, Clara, eyes black, skin pale. But she wasn't alone. 12 masked figures circled them, and all of them spoke in sync, though their mouths never moved. They said, "The lineage is not a cult. It is a promise. A voice becomes a bridge becomes a door, and the door is open." Then, static. The footage cut out, and moments later, Hale's body was found in a Kansas City motel, 3 states away. No ID, no phone, just a note pinned to his chest. One has crossed. 12 remain. Autopsy revealed something else. His heart was missing, but there were no incisions. Only a brand burned into his chest. The 13th symbol. The mouth. Screaming. The FBI launched a multi-state investigation into former clergy, asylum personnel, and orphanage records dating back to 1901. Every trail led to dead ends, or dead witnesses, but one name reappeared again. Father Edwin Lorne, presumed dead, spotted 3 times since Clara's return. Last sighting? 48 hours ago. Surveillance at a train station outside Chicago. He stood still, hands clasped, rosary swinging, and a child standing beside him. A girl, around 10, pale skin, dark eyes, no expression. And when agents ran facial recognition on the girl, she matched Clara's childhood photos. Almost exactly, but not perfectly. Somehow, not her. Not anymore. And Lorne? He whispered something to the station attendant before vanishing. The voice has multiplied. The footage ended. And the very next night, every child in Elmridge under the age of 13 experienced the same thing. Nightmares. Of a door. A woman behind it. Sewn mouth. Black eyes. Whispering through her stitches. When one child was asked what the woman said, she responded. She said it's almost time to open the second voice. No one knew what that meant. Until this morning. 4:06 a.m. Security footage from inside a daycare shows a girl standing in the hallway. Alone. Still. Facing a mirror. Behind her, 12 other children. All standing. All silent. All bleeding from the mouth. And on the mirror, drawn in blood, was a single phrase. "We are ready to listen now." And next to it, a handprint. Too large for a child. Too small for a man. With 13 fingers. The footage ends. And just as the investigation prepares to widen to federal emergency levels, another package arrives. Unmarked. Inside it, a new VHS tape. labeled only Part 2. Authorities are preparing to play it. But before they do, the building goes dark, and a child's voice is heard over the emergency intercom. Clara says they're not coming. They're already here. The emergency lights flickered once, then died. Complete blackout inside the federal building. The VHS tape labeled Part 2 still sat on the table. Unwatched, cold, but the voice, childlike, echoing, still rang through the intercom. Clara says they're not coming. They're already here. A silent alarm triggered lockdown. Hallways sealed. Systems scrambled. And when backup arrived, everyone inside was gone. 37 agents. Vanished. No bodies. No blood. Just a symbol scorched into the floor near the viewing room. A 13th circle. And inside it teeth. Not drawn. Not painted. Real. Human. Perfectly arranged into the shape of a grin. The tape was missing, but hours later it surfaced online. Uploaded by a user named Hollow Witness 13. The FBI tried to block it, but it was already too late. Hundreds of thousands of views. Thousands of shares. What it showed? A house. Abandoned. One camera. Shaky, handheld. Inside, 13 figures sat at a dinner table. Motionless. No food. Just black candles. And Clara, at the head. Hair cropped. Mouth now permanently unstitched. But not smiling. Just watching. And in front of her a book. The grimoire. The 13th voice. Only this time it was open to a new page. Fresh ink. A name scrawled in frantic handwriting. Avery Lane. No one knew it yet. But 20 minutes later, in the town of Hollow Springs, Missouri, 8-year-old Avery Lane disappeared. Her parents were upstairs. Door locked. Alarm set. She vanished without a sound. But what they found was her bed, neatly made, her pillow soaked with blood, and carved into the wall behind her headboard. Voice number 2. That same morning, 13 packages were delivered across the country. No return addresses. Each one sent to a family of a child under the age of 10. Inside, an identical item, a small wooden box, and inside the box, a single baby tooth, wrapped in old newspaper. The newspaper dated March 13, 1989, the date Clara Jennings was born. One parent turned over the box immediately. The others vanished that night. Police found their homes undisturbed. No signs of struggle. But in each kitchen, on the refrigerator door, a single phrase had been magnetized letter by letter. We hear her now. The Hollow Lineage was spreading. But it wasn't recruiting anymore. It was awakening. In one private message sent to a retired Elmridge detective, a name emerged. Project Vox Somni. Latin for voice of sleep. A classified federal operation long buried, meant to experiment with dream state cognition and childhood trauma. It was allegedly disbanded in the late 80s. But one child in the program, unnamed, orphaned, marked as Subject 13. Birth date, March 13, 1989. Current alias, Clara Jennings. Clara wasn't just chosen. She was created, groomed, conditioned, released. And now, she was activating others. One by one. Voices. Each born 13 years apart. Each connected through dreams. One child in a psychiatric ward drew them. All of them, 13 faces. None older than 10. Each with black eyes, open mouths, bleeding. And in the center of the page, Clara. But her face wasn't hers anymore. It was shifting, changing, becoming everyone and no one. The child who drew the image, found dead that night, throat open, no blood, just an old cassette recorder placed on his chest. When played, it wasn't a scream. It was a lullaby, Clara's voice, singing. Hush now, little broken tongue. The hollow sleeps, but not for long. One by one the mouths will hum, and when they do, the end has come. At exactly 3:13 a.m., sirens in 5 states activated without cause. Hospitals, schools, churches, each one experienced simultaneous power outages. And in every location, an anonymous envelope was discovered at the entrance. Inside, a black and white photograph. Each one different. Each one of a different child. And every photo signed, Witness number 13. The pattern was undeniable. The Hollow wasn't summoning Clara. Clara was the Hollow. And now she had an army. Every day since, more disappearances. More whispers. The phrase voice 2, replaced by voice 3. Then 4. Now 5. Every 13 hours, another child is taken. No witnesses. No ransom. No sound. Just silence. And a new mark burned somewhere into the town where it happens. One burned onto a cornfield. One onto a church bell. One into the sand of a public beach. Always 13 lines. Always forming the same eye. The latest line connects through Clara's hometown, the Elmridge orchard, and now straight to the home of Elliot Vance. The man who once loved her. The man who once buried her. And tonight, he's missing. Again. His house is empty. The furniture turned upside down. Mirrors shattered. And his wedding photo with Clara, split neatly down the middle. Her side is missing. And on the wall, scrawled in red crayon, she promised forever. Now she's taking it back. They called it the orchard. But it hadn't grown fruit in years. Nothing grew there anymore. The soil was black, dry, coarse like ash. Trees crooked, bark split. Locals swore they heard whispers between the branches. Even animals avoided it. But that's where she went. Every time. Clara. Before the disappearances. Before the voice. Drone footage captured it first 13 new saplings in a perfect circle. Not planted. Not natural. Sprouted overnight. In the middle of the ring. A symbol. Burned into the ground. The eye. But no longer just open. Now it bled. From the edges. Downward. Into the soil. Elliot Vance's car was found just outside the tree line. Keys still in the ignition. Engine cold. Driver's seat empty. His phone lay on the ground nearby. Open to a voice memo. 11 seconds long. Elliot's voice shaky. Urgent. I saw her. It's not Clara anymore. It's wearing her like skin. And it's not done. It said. The audio cut off. The last millisecond of the file? A whisper. Slowed down and enhanced. Forensic analysts identified the voice as Clara's. It said, "You promised forever." Search teams entered the orchard at dawn. Within minutes, radios failed. GPS scrambled. And from above, thermal imaging showed something impossible. A second orchard. Beneath the first. An exact replica. Inverted. Like a mirror underground. No way in. No way out. Until one team stumbled on a hatch, half buried in the roots of the original Jennings tree. Carved into it 13 handprints. All child-sized. The door opened at 3:13 p.m. without warning. What they found inside would never be released publicly. But a leaked photo changed everything. It showed a tunnel. Covered in children's drawings. Crayon. Marker. Blood. Images of figures with no faces. Eyes above them in the sky. Mouths beneath the ground. Children floating. Clara in the middle. Arms out. Smile wide. Mouth sewn again. The caption beneath the mural. The 13th was the first. The first will be the last. Inside, the air was freezing. But there was no source. The team reported hearing laughter echoing from the walls. Always just behind them. And deeper in a chamber. Perfectly round. 13 chairs. One figure in each. Still. Covered in sheets. Each with a number written in black ash. 1 through 13. But the chairs were child-sized. And when they pulled the sheet from chair 1, it was a man. Elliot Vance. Mouth open. Eyes wide. Dead. Except no cause. No wounds. No trauma. Just terror. Hands clenched so tight his fingernails had pierced his own palms. But that wasn't the worst part. The symbol was inside his mouth. Branded on the tongue. Chair 2, empty. Chair 3, still breathing. A young girl, age 10. Identified as Avery Lane. Missing for 13 days. But her eyes. Not hers. Black. Bottomless. And around her neck. Strung from a cord of braided hair. A tooth. Human. Adult molar. Testing confirmed it belonged to Father Edwin Lorne. But Father Lorne? He was seen hours later, on security footage outside a morgue in Nevada, smiling, mouth bleeding, handing a wrapped bundle to a nurse. Inside the bundle, a child's shoe, and a note. She never stopped listening. Why did you? Every known member of the Clara investigation was now either missing or dead. All except Detective Miriam Kane. She'd been silent for weeks, off-grid, until a letter arrived at HQ. Handwritten. Her final words. Clara is not the girl. She's the gap between them. The thing that waited. The mouth that opened. And when the 13th voice finishes, there will be nothing left to silence. The letter was soaked in blood. DNA results? Confirmed. It wasn't Kane's. It was Clara's. And the blood was fresh, collected within the last 24 hours. Authorities now believe Clara isn't moving town to town. She's everywhere, all at once, appearing only where her voices awaken. Each child an echo, each echo more complete than the last. And last night, an entire foster home vanished in Colorado. 13 beds, 13 names, 13 drawings, each one showing the same scene. A wedding, a bride with black eyes, a groom screaming, and every guest at the ceremony, wearing a stitched mouth. The date written on each drawing, March 13th, this coming Tuesday, and the location, back where it started. The orchard. A ceremony is coming. And tonight, the wind returned to Elmridge. Low, hollow, carrying a new voice, not Clara's, younger, broken, afraid, whispering over and over. She said when the last bell rings, we all go underground. March 13th. Elmridge is silent. No wind, no birds, no power. The orchard is surrounded. SWAT, federal agents, psych units, news vans. But no one goes in. No one dares. The trees sway without wind. The sky bruised, pulsing red. 13 bells have been set up across the perimeter, wired to a remote seismic trigger. If the ground shakes even slightly, they'll ring. But they don't. Not at first. At 3:13 p.m., the first bell tolls. Then the second. Then all 13. But the earth hasn't moved. The vibrations aren't from the ground. They're coming from beneath it. The sound of something waking. The ground near the altar splits. The orchard breathes. The altar opens. And from the pit, one by one, they rise. 13 children. Eyes black. Mouths open. Smiling. And behind them, Clara. But it's not her. Not anymore. The face is hers. But stretched. Glowing. 13 shadows pour from her spine, each mimicking one of the children. Their movements delay by fractions of a second, as if remembering how to be human. The watchers descend. The FBI moves in. But as they approach the orchard, they stop, drop their weapons, and turn, one by one, eyes black, mouth sewn shut. No one understands why, until the radio crackles, and a voice comes through. It's Elliot Vance. But he's dead. He says, the ceremony isn't for her. It's for us. We made her. We forgot her. Now she remembers everything. The orchard swallows the agents. Each scream is identical. 13 times. And then silence. Only one drone feed survives. It shows Clara walking toward the camera. Alone. Crying. Her eyes human again. Mouth trembling. She says, I waited. I waited for him to find me. But he buried me. He made a vow. And broke it. She holds something in her hand. A wedding ring. Split in half. Blood glistening on the edge. She drops it. And when it hits the ground, the world shifts. The trees collapse inward. The pit widens. And the orchard folds into itself like paper burning from the center. When the dust clears, nothing remains. No trees. No bodies. No altar. Just a crater. And in the middle, a woman's dress. Torn. White. Still bleeding. A note lies beside it. Forever is not a promise. It's a prison. The case is officially closed. The town of Elmridge is sealed. Declared unsafe. The official statement? Unstable soil collapse. But those who saw it, those who heard her voice, they know better, because every 13 days now, somewhere in the world, a new child goes missing, always on the 13th hour, always from a locked room, and always leaving behind the same message. We are her echo. The hollow lineage lives, and the voice speaks still, not in the wind, not in the trees, but in the dreams of those who once forgot her. You may hear her too. Not now, not tonight, but soon, because she promised, forever, and Clara Jennings never breaks a promise. The year is 1997. Elmridge Asylum has just been condemned. Records destroyed. Patients discharged or relocated. But not all. In the farthest wing, beneath the east stairwell, was room 313. Not on any blueprint. No doctors assigned. No staff rotated. The door welded shut. But every night someone inside sang. A lullaby. Muffled. Monotone. Hush now, little broken tongue. She had no name. The file listed only Subject 13. Age 8. No visitors. No records of birth. But one entry remained. A security log. Redacted. It reads, March 13th, 1997, 3:13 a.m. Unexplained event. Subject 13 opened her mouth. Sound was recorded. Frequency exceeds normal human register. All staff within 100 yards collapsed. 7 never woke. 1 survived. He said she told him, "You'll marry me one day, and then forget me, and then remember me, and then bury me, and then dig me up, and then beg me to stop." End log. The survivor? A young orderly. New hire. Name, Elliot Vance. He never spoke of it again. He left the hospital that night. Moved across the state. Changed jobs. Years later, he met a woman. Bright smile. Soft voice. No family. Her name? Clara Jennings. He never recognized her. She never reminded him. Until the wedding night. She gave him a box. Inside, a baby tooth. Wrapped in old newspaper. The date? March 13th, 1989. The night she was born. The night he screamed for the first time in her presence. He asked what it meant. She smiled. Said, "It's the part of me they took. But I kept a piece. So you'd always know me." He didn't. Not until it was too late. Not until he tried to leave. And she whispered, "You already said, I do. You don't get to say, I don't die." The tooth disappeared after that. He never mentioned it again. And Clara? She became quiet. Smiling less. Sleeping more. Hearing things behind walls. Dreaming of mouths opening. Waking with dirt beneath her nails. On the 13th day of their 3rd month of marriage, she vanished. Elliot called it a tragedy. But somewhere deep inside, he remembered. Room 313. The singing girl. The scream that stopped time. The promise she made. The promise he broke. And somewhere now, a new room 313 exists. This never built. Never seen. It just appears. Where the voice needs it. Where the hollow begins. And every time it opens, a child goes in. And the door welds shut behind them. No one hears their screams. But she does. She always does. Because Clara never left room 313. She only stepped out. And now, she's looking for the next one to step in. For more chilling true crime content, subscribe to this channel. https://www.youtube.com/advanishedwhispers-truecrime question mark sub _ confirmation =1